Hello again. My name is Christopher Claflin, and I feel like I have been filming and editing every single day, and I am behind in my uploads. I really underestimated how much time it takes to create cinematic style videos for YouTube and upload multiple times a week. It has been really busy. But you know who else has been really busy? These guys. DJI. Today they just announced, they announced this. Which is super awesome. I am amazed at all the innovation that's coming out of DJI. I mean, we are way past the Mavic Pro onto the Mavic Pro 2, the Mavic Pro Zoom, which is pretty sweet because you have the ability to zoom in on a subject as you're moving around it, and it gives it this parallax effect. Well, I'll show you a clip from DJI's marketing material. That's pretty sweet, and it's making me feel like this thing is pretty outdated, even though it still holds up really well. This one's name is Krampus because, its older brother Rudolph I bought in December, and so I named it Rudolph. It seemed appropriate. And a couple weeks later, Rudolph suicided himself into a tree. It wasn't even pilot error. I wasn't even touching my controller, and this thing to its death. So because of that, I have Krampus, and I also have never been flown. Because my philosophy is that you should always have a drone for the air and a drone as a spare, because if you've been flying drones long enough, you know that there are two types of drone pilots. Pilots who have crashed, and pilots who have never flown, really. If you fly drones long enough, you are going to crash. And for all the innovation that DJI is pumping out, that's something that they'll never be able to overcome. And for that reason, and one other reason that kind of came out of left field for me, I'll probably never be buying another DJI drone. And I'm going to tell you why. You know what? I actually am just going to show you why, because a few weeks ago, it was probably 2 months ago, I saw something that blew my mind. I couldn't believe what I was watching. What I was seeing was impossible, but I was seeing it. And it can't be described, it can only be shown. So check these clips out. None of those shots were filmed by me. The majority of it was by a guy whose YouTube channel is Johnny FPV, and there's a link to his channel in my, what is that called? It's not the show notes. There's a link to his channel in my video description and to the channels of the other creators that I used for that little quick cut of clips. And those guys are FPV drone pilots. It took me forever to figure out that that stuff was not shot with a DJI drone. I tried to figure out, I was Googling and figuring out, how do you get your drone to bank and do flips and get all these crazy trick shots? The answer is that DJI's stuff can't do that. And as much as DJI is innovating, I don't think that they are innovating fast enough to be able to compete with this disruptive technology that is FPV. It's actually a few technologies that are all converging right now. And if you are a digital content creator who places high value on aerial videography, FPV is where it's at. It makes this look like a brick with wings. So let me explain to you the 2 reasons that I think FPV should just replace this altogether in your camera bag. Reason number 1 is what I've been talking about. If you've been flying drones long enough, it doesn't matter what model you have, if you fly your drone a lot, eventually it is going to crash. It just is gonna happen. There's too many variables that are out of your control for this thing to survive more than, I don't know, a couple hundred or a couple thousand hours of flight time, especially if you're trying to get like really creative and precise with your shots. And the trouble with DJI drones is when you wreck them, you're buying a whole new set, or you're sending it into DJI and they're gonna fix it for you for a chunk of change, or they're just gonna tell you, you know, we can't fix this, you need to buy a new drone. And that's gonna set you back between $1,000 and $2,000. And that's a lot of money, especially for people that are using these almost every day, like I'm starting to do. FPV is different because you build your own drone. But wait, did he just say you build it yourself, like a Lego? Oh, okay. Why would you build? Why? When you've built your own drone from the ground up, from the frame to the motors to the flight controller to the receiver, when you've put everything together yourself and you crash your drone, you can inspect that thing and know exactly what needs to happen in order to repair it. And repairs are way cheaper than if you're repairing something on a DJI product. The reason is you can look at the wire or the cable that's been damaged and order just that piece and repair it yourself, and it's going to work, assuming there's not something else that's damaged on your quad, which is what we call drones in the FPV world, I guess. I'm still brand new to all of this. The problem with repairing a DJI drone is kind of the same problem that people have with fixing Apple products themselves, or even using third-party adapters. If you have one of Apple's newer devices, you know the nightmare that it is. There's no headphone jack in the thing, so you have to use a lightning connector, whatever they call it. The problem with Apple is that they can tell whether or not the adapter is Apple's $30 version versus a $3 third-party option that you decided to go with. If you have the third-party option, it's not going to work with your iPhone because your iPhone recognizes it and said, Apple's awesome. DJI is kind of going the same direction. I have repaired a few of these things myself, and as time goes on, it gets harder and harder not only to access the parts, but a few times I've found that after my repair, the drone won't work properly, and it's because the aftermarket parts that I'm using are not directly from DJI, and those specific parts aren't available at all. You have to send it directly into DJI because it's all about that sweet sticky cash. It's a little bit annoying because they're so expensive to begin with, and you are going to crash your drone eventually if you're using it frequently. And when you compare the cost of an FPV drone setup versus a DJI setup straight out of the box, they're pretty much the same price, except the price starts to vary drastically when you start crashing these things. FPV drones, oftentimes you can crash them, pick them back up, and they're ready to fly. There's no damage done. I've never seen one of these have a crash, except for one time, without serious damage being done to something. So that's reason number 1 that FPV I feel like is just a better route to go if you're serious about flying drones and making videos with aerial shots. Reason number 2 is, what was reason number 2? I just got off on a crazy rant. Man, this is gonna be a long video. Reason number 2 is that FPV drones can only be described as like, they're just athletic. They are so maneuverable, it's crazy. And it allows you to get shots that are impossible. This can move up and down and side to side and forward and backward. An FPV drone can flip forward, it can bank, it can roll. It's awesome. It can do whatever you want it to. which means the shots that you can get are unreal. That's why I don't think I'll be buying anything new from DJI, as much as I love their products. I love my Mavic Pros. I love DJI's stuff. They made possible what was impossible for anyone who was making videos as a hobby 10 or 15 years ago. There was no way you could get the shots that you can get with DJI's equipment. But if you're serious about creating content that makes people go, whoa, then FPV drones are the future. And the barriers to entry, the learning how to build them, the hours and hours spent on a simulator to learn how to fly them, you have to learn how to fly it on a simulator because they're really hard to fly. I've only been doing simulation for like, oh gosh. I've only been doing simulation for like a week. So I suck. All of that is made worth it by a piece of equipment that can get the shot that you have in your head. And you can go for it without fear of destroying something that you paid thousands of dollars for that you really don't understand. So keep innovating, DJI. I really love seeing what you come out with next because every time you have a new release, I get excited and I want to try it. But I don't think I'll be trying it this time because FPV is the future for creators who want to shoot from the skies. That's what I'm going to be doing. So those are the two reasons that I'm not going to be buying anything new from DJI, and let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Tell me whether or not you think FPV is viable for the average creator, or if you think that this is still the way to go. I would love to hear your thoughts. What did you think about DJI's announcement today? And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Christopher Claflin, and go ahead and hit subscribe on my channel because there's going to be a lot of sweet stuff. FPV stuff coming at you. I have more stuff to edit. So I will see you guys next time.